Is he overhyped or will he live up to the hype? Mighty Ukko, let's get into it. What's up YouTube, it's Authentic. Now today I've got a preview for you guys. It's for Mighty Ukko. He is Mighty Ukko, Mighty Ukko, however you want to pronounce it. He does look like the guy from Disney's Lion King, Pumbaa. First of all, we have to look at what type of fusion it is. So we know it's going to be a fragment fusion. Now these fusions, I have to say they're slightly easier than the old-fashioned fusions. However, it can still be very challenging and Plarium can make it tough if they want to. This champion is looking like the amount of hype that he's receiving. It's looking like Plarium will be making this a bit of a tough fusion, but that will only be confirmed once they release the schedule for the fusion, which has not been released just yet. However, this champion for itself, I'd say he's a strong champion. He does do some really unique things and really strong things. Starting off with his passive has a 50% chance of stealing a one random buff from an enemy each time they receive a buff. So now from how this reads, it says that every time one buff gets applied to an enemy, that the chance of stealing would happen. So if there's 3 buffs, will we get 3 chances to steal the buffs, or would it just be 1? From reading it, it makes it sound like it's only going to be 1 for 1. So every time they add 1 buff, we can strip 1 time, and if it's 2 or 3, then we'll get those amount of chances to strip. Again, it would need to be tested, and any stolen buffs become protected. So if he steals any buffs, they become protected, and the biggest thing is this thing is not on a cooldown. This will happen every time opponent gets buffs, which makes it very, very strong. Because he's a champion that you're going to want to run accuracy on anyway, you'll see with the rest of his debuffs, you'll see he's a very, very good champion when you add in this passive and what else he brings with his kit. His aura is 20% speed, very, very solid. Again, for dungeons, for Hydra, for Iron Fortress, for Doom Tower. Speed is always good. Speed lead is always fantastic. So it's really, really good aura. Solid passive. His A3 has a revive on a 4-turn cooldown. Revives all dead allies with 40% HP and places block damage on them for 1 turn. Now, normally I would say 40% HP revive is a little bit low, but the block damage is huge. Block damage makes it so they are going to be revived with 0% turn meter. They'll have no turn meter, but they will have their whole turn meter for any healer to come in or any effect to happen to heal them up, and they will be protected by the block damage buff. That means they won't be taking any damage until they take a turn. So it's a really, really strong passive. It also lands increased speed for 2 turns on all allies. Now here it specifies that it will place the increased speed buff even if there are no dead allies. Now what this means is that the revivability will happen whether you have somebody dead or alive. Now this can be slightly annoying if you are running Ukko as your only reviver, and let's say he's done his increased speed ability without anybody dead. Next turn somebody dies, you're going to be waiting 4 turns until you get the revive. So maybe a single target reviver with Ukko, or maybe another reviver altogether. Or if you want to risk it anyway, you're like, it doesn't really matter, I'll just wait for 4 turns. You can do that too. Moving on to the A2, now another strong ability. So far his passive is great, his aura is great, his revive is really good, and now we're getting to the money ability, which is the A2 as well. You could say the passive and the A2 are as strong as each other, and the A3 is fantastic too. So it's hard to pick which one is his best ability, but this one, Ukko's Fury, attacks all enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 75% chance of removing 2 random buffs from the target. That is huge. That's a full buff strip AoE, which is nearly a complete buff strip. I can't think of any situation where you're going to be looking at stripping more than 4 buffs. So for me, this is a complete buff strip. It also says it places a block buff debuff and a 50% decreased accuracy debuff for 2 turns on targets that have no buffs after the attack. Now again, 4 buffs taken away, block buffs landed, and decreased accuracy landed. An AoE strip with block buffs and decreased accuracy is amazingly strong. Again, really good in Hydra, really good in Doom Tower, really good in Arena where you have buffs where you want to strip away and then you want to land block buffs. Decreased accuracy in Arena, maybe you're not going to be running that much, but block buffs is going to be fantastic. Any swift parries, any ally protections, any increased defenses, they won't be going on once you land the block buffs. And his A1's an AoE. What more can you ask for? His A1 is an AoE, attacks all enemies, has a 50% chance of placing decreased accuracy, 50% big version, debuff for 2 turns, and this books up to a 75% AoE decrease attack. incredible A1. AoE decrease attack with 75% chance of landing. That is incredibly strong. His A2 cooldown will be 4 turns. I was thinking it's going to be 3 turns. Maybe we'll get a book that's going to bring this down to 3 turns. However, they've not done that. So both of his A2 and A3s on a 3-turn cooldown. I was assuming that this was going to be a 4-turn cooldown because of how strong it is. This I was kind of hoping it'd be 3-turn, but again, an AoE strip, a full buff strip. If it was a 3-turn cooldown, it might have been a little bit OP, but it's fine the way it is. So his kit is super solid. Like I said, A1's incredible, A2's very strong, A3's very good, passive's really good, and aura's really good. Makes for a fantastic champion. I mean, if you give one champion this many good things, it's hard to argue that they're not going to be a great champion. He looks like a really complete champion in my opinion. The last thing I want to look at is the stats of the champion, because the champion can be as good as he wants. If his stats are not great, it's not going to work, it's not going to be good. So first of all, we'll look at his in-game character. This is what he's going to look like. He does look very much like Pumbaa. It's hard to get away from the comparison where he looks like a spitting image of a Pumbaa. He has a staff, it looks like. Cool looking champion. Works for the Skinwalkers. Aesthetically good. We all know Plarium is really good at this kind of thing, at designing their champions. Now we want to look at the stats really quickly. Not much else. HP 18,500, solid in my opinion. Defense with 1100 is a little bit low. However, I feel like it's not going to be an issue. His defense is a little bit low. His damage scales off his attack. That's why his attack seems to be quite higher. For a support champion, I would say his defense is low, his HP is decent, his speed is incredibly strong, 109 speed, that's massive, and 30 resistance and 10 accuracy is a good building block to start with. So overall, fantastic champion. Is he a get? Yes. Is he a must get? Absolutely. You have to go out and get this champion. There's no two ways about it. If your end game fusions are really easy for you anyway, so not getting this champion probably isn't something you should do. If you're mid game and you can go for it, I would definitely say you can invest your resources in this guy. Again, it depends on your account, what your account level is, but for me this champion is a definite pickup. So let me know what you think about this champion in the comment section down below. Let me know if you're going to go for this fusion, if you can or cannot go for the fusion, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.